Okay fam, so we're doing another episode, Destination Fitness with Carlos, Discover Sydney, and as you can see, I'm on the harbour, Circular Quay, and today's a special one because most people think about the city on the harbour, which is Sydney, being this, Circular Quay. You've got the Harbour Bridge behind me, the big ships coming in, the Opera House, but I'm going to take you 30 kilometres west inland along the harbour, which is why the city is so special and the harbour is so special, because it doesn't just wander off here on the harbour and what people consider the harbour here in the city. It takes you all the way inland, 30 kilometres, and I'm going to show you all the bridges that connect north to south, because this river and the harbour goes all the way 30 kilometres, but it means we're separated to the city, north and south. So you'll see all of that pretty soon, guys. I'll be getting the ferry just down here, and that's this episode, guys. We'll take a trip on the harbour. Okay fam, I did an episode here not long ago, so if you look back at some of my episodes on Circular Quay and the harbour, and I didn't realise, you see the big ship there, it's called the Carnival Splendor, and obviously at the moment it's still cruising season, but we're in autumn, we're in mid-April now, so I thought the cruising season is just through summer, so they're still coming in, and as you can see the harbour is always very busy, guys, very busy. And that's why they call it the city on the harbour. So it's not just road traffic, it's ocean, or we'll call it ocean harbour traffic as well. But anyway guys, just waiting for the ferry to come. You get it from pier number 5 to Parramatta, which is where we're heading, 30 kilometres inland, and we'll be seeing how that goes soon. Alright fam, so we're taking off, and right next to us there you go. That's one of the big cruise ships. So they come into the harbour often. I didn't realise we're in mid-autumn now, so they're still coming in to the harbour, cruising from overseas. Look at that, that is huge. And you can see the ferries come right next to there. And as you can see behind me there, we've got the Opera House down there. What I'm going to do is show you each bridge as we head 30 kilometres inland to Parramatta, to show you where we go. But look at that boat behind us. That is huge. You don't get this close to the boats normally, guys. So this is a bit of a trip, and there you go. There's the Harbour Bridge just there. And really the Harbour Bridge is the first bridge that we're going to go under to get to the other side. And like I said, this river here, it's going to turn, well, this is the harbour. It's going to turn into the Parramatta River, and it's going to separate north from south. And the first bridge we're going to cross is the Harbour Bridge. And that's basically going to separate the Sydney Business District, the CBD, to North Sydney, which is over there. And I've done episodes on North Sydney as well. You'll see that on my channel if you visit the channel. So here we go, guys. First bridge you're going to cross, Harbour Bridge. So here we go, guys, as the wind picks up. Harbour Bridge, first bridge we're crossing. And guys, this ferry is all stations, so it's all stops to 30 kilometres, so it's going to be about an hour and a half. But again, it's a transport service as well, so people actually live on these areas as well. But there you go, guys, and we're off to the other side, into the west. Alright fam, so your first stop is in Barangaroo, as you can see behind me. On the opposite side of the city, Darling Harbour is just down here, and my daughter works just here as well. So there you go, guys. So your first stop, Barangaroo. And if you want to get off here, you've got a lot to see in Sydney here. This is the other side of the city, and it's quite, this is all pretty new, this area here. Look at that behind you. Beautiful. That's Barangaroo, guys. Guys, as we leave the city, we're now Cockatoo Island. That's the second stop. The city behind us there. As you can see, the harbour keeps going all the way inland. Off we go. Fam, so that was Drummoyne. That was our third stop, and soon we're going to go under the next bridge that crosses from north to south, which is the Drummoyne Bridge. And look at these places, guys, right on the harbour. And again, we're going inland even more now. So the first bridge obviously was the Harbour Bridge. Now's the next one, the Drummoyne Bridge. But as you can see, we've gone quite a bit of a distance since the last bridge we crossed. So you can imagine if the Harbour Bridge wasn't here, the next one is the Drummoyne Bridge, which is coming up here. So it's quite a distance. So that's the importance of the Harbour Bridge. And you get a glimpse there. It might be a little bit windy as we go underneath the bridge, so I'll just put the music on. But there's the next bridge that you can see there, guys, the Drummoyne Bridge. So there you go, guys, that's the Drummoyne Bridge we just crossed. Like I said, that's the second bridge that connects the north to the south on the harbour. And without those bridges, you could only get through the harbour on the water. So they're important bridges, guys, very important. You just see it there. Okay, fam, so that was our fourth stop, Abbotsford. And now we're moving more inland, and you feel it's actually getting a little bit warmer. And I've been here before, a nice place to eat, right on the harbour. But now, guys, we're definitely moving more inland, so you're moving right away from the city now. Remember, we've only crossed two bridges, the Harbour Bridge and Drummoyne Bridge. So we're separated from Sydney by this beautiful harbour. And that's coming from Parramatta. But I'll tell you what, it's such a relaxing trip, guys, this trip here, very relaxing. So a great way to visit Sydney and discover Sydney. Alright, guys, so the next stop is Carbourita. Now this place here, I used to come all the time when I was young, went to school around this way. And it's amazing to see how they've changed it. So that's the stop there. And behind us here, there's a place called Breakfast Point, which has all been redone. This area used to be all, what do you call it, industrial area. And it wasn't very pretty. But now they've made it all nice, apartments and all this sort of thing. No one used to like it around here. But look at that now, beautiful. So, Carbourita on your next stop as we're heading towards Parramatta, more inland. Alright fam, so now we're coming to a place called Kissing Point. Interesting name. And that's the stop there. So how many stops is that? I've lost count now. I think we're on about 6 or 7. And right here, again, look at this. The harbour is quite large, because I mean, obviously in the cities where it's the widest, but as you go past this area, it's going to narrow down now a little bit, not too much. As you can see, the other ferries are still going through. But as you can see, guys, the harbour itself, it's a long, long harbour, and you know, now it's called the Parramatta River, but it keeps going all the way inland. Amazing. And like I said, not many of us take this option to go inland. It's amazing that you can go inland on the harbour all this way from the city without catching a train or driving. And remember, we've only come up with 2 bridges. So when you discover Sydney, you realise how important those bridges are to connect the 2 areas. Or else you have to drive 30 kilometres inland just to get to the other side without those bridges. So they're very important. But again, peaceful trip. Okay fam, so the sun has dropped behind a dark cloud, but we've just gone under our 3rd bridge here in Meadowbank, as you can see. We just left Cabarita down there, and this is Meadowbank at Kissing Point, and that's the 3rd bridge that you go over. And down here guys, you've got a lot of areas that used to be all factories. You see behind me here, all apartments now. But years ago when I was younger, 70s and 80s, they were all factories. This area was just factories on the water, and the water wasn't that clean. But now they've got rid of the factories, made it apartments. It's really cleaned it up, so it's really nice. I'm looking a bit dark there guys because of this huge cloud. The sun's just got behind that cloud there, so it's all a bit dark. But here we go guys, this is Meadowbank. And again, when you're on this, taking this trip of discovering Sydney, you realise how many homes are on the harbour, on the water itself. It's amazing. And they're very expensive too, I can imagine. And there you go, there's the apartments there behind us. And that's the Meadowbank stop. And if you're thinking, oh, that was the 3rd bridge, this is the 4th, this bridge here is for the trains. So that is a 4th bridge, but that's the trains that go there, and the cars take that bridge there. So remember, there's only been 3 bridges we've crossed, and we're into Meadowbank, which is quite a fair distance inland. So here we go guys, like I said, when you discover Sydney, you learn a lot about why this harbour is so important and why they call it the city on the harbour. Alright guys, you can see behind me there, Sydney Olympic Park. And this is Wentworth Point down here. So we're not far now from Parramatta, which is at the end of the line. And as you can see, Wentworth Point's all nice areas to stay there. The sun's still gone beyond the clouds, but now it's really going to thin out the river as you're going down the end here. But this is where you go to where the Olympic Games were held in 2000, the Sydney Olympic Park, and it's the biggest stadium in Sydney as well. So if you want to watch a sporting event, you can always get to it from the river rather than driving and looking for parking. There we go guys. Now we're really cruising into the end of the actual river itself and the harbour. So now we're going under the 4th bridge that connects the north to the south, and that's the Silver Water Road Bridge just above us there. So remember, that's only 4 bridges guys that connects the north to the south that we've been through so far. And as you can see, the river now really thins out as it heads towards the end, so it starts to really funnel in from the width that it was back and towards the city. But and there you go guys, when you look out there, that's what the mangroves would have looked like before these properties and everything were here. And we've got one more stop which is called Ryralmere, and then we're there. And guys, we've travelled literally, I think it's between 25-30 kilometres inland on the harbour, on the ferry, from the city. And like I say, that's a 4th bridge, so 30 kilometres, there's been 4 bridges so far. Okay fam, so we're about to stop at Ryralmere, and that will be the second last stop before we get to where it basically ends. And like I said, you see behind me there the mangroves of what it used to look like years ago, long before industry and housing all came down here. And that's as the river funnels out, and as you can see, look how thin the river's got now guys, as it comes towards the end. And then as you approach Parramatta, you think you're going into another big city again, because you see all the buildings, which is the second city, Parramatta of Sydney. And that's where you end up. So we're nearly there guys, along our trip to discover Sydney along the harbour. And fam, as we approach the end of the journey on discovering Sydney, the sun comes out, which is great. But as you can see guys, look how thin the river is now. And the ferry also goes a lot slower now because of the fact that it's all thinned out, and you've got ferries that go the other way as well. And we're approaching the end there guys, Parramatta, you can see the front. But I'll film when you can start seeing the actual city of Parramatta itself. But what a journey guys, almost 30 kilometres along the river. And you start seeing some of the buildings there. Well, you start seeing more of the buildings there. And that's where we're going to end up towards the end there, guys. Wow. Well, what a trip. 30 k's inland on the harbour. Look at that. And look how thin the water, the river is now. Okay, fam, we're about to cross our 5th bridge and 6th, which is going to come right after it. But as you can see, if this bridge goes, look at that. It's only a small one, and that's because the light rail is going to go on there. And as you can see, look at the edge between that bank and that bank. It's a very small area, guys. And the 7th bridge is just there. And over here you've got the University of Western Sydney. But look how thin it is now, guys, the river. So we're right near the end now, right near the end. And there you go, guys, there's bridge number 7, the James Roos Drive Bridge. And like I said, look at the distance between the banks. It is very, very thin now. But as you come underneath this bridge, there you go. There's the city of Parramatta looking at you. And that's where we're going to end up, and that's where it ends. 30 kilometres we've travelled from Sydney, the city, all along the harbour, into Parramatta River, to the end here in Parramatta. What a journey, guys, to discover Sydney. Okay, fam, so here we come to the end of the journey, and there we are. We're in Parramatta. Wow, that was 30 kilometres, guys, about an hour and a half, quite a few stops to come all the way inland, west to Parramatta, from the harbour, non-stop along the river, and you've seen how the city's divided into north and south, just by this river. This is where it ends. Where it ends here is where you can actually go over on land without crossing the river. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that journey. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I did. It's a great way to see Sydney. And look at this. So you've left one city and you're into our 2nd city. And you've seen this city on one of my episodes as well, exploring Parramatta. So when you get a chance, guys, discover Sydney, try this trip and you'll love it. See you on your next episode, guys.